Morning in Southern California for meditation and spiritual practice. Great to see everybody. And this morning, I'd like to tune into a beautiful teaching from the Or HaMa'ir, Hasidic master, 19th century. And this is on the comment of this week's Parsha, Chaye Sarah, which means the life of Sarah. And one of the lines that is kind of a very famous line in this parsha is that God blessed Abraham bakol, in everything. And that Abraham is at the end of his life. It's in this parsha that he dies also. And really this sense of being blessed in everything is, on one hand, in a pashat level, in a literal level, in the Torah portion, is really that he had a full life, and that really all of it was goodness. Everything that he had, his children, his family, his work, bringing people closer to God. But in nice Hasidic fashion, the Or HaMa'ir quotes the Talmud. And he says that another way to read this, God blessed Abraham bakol, was that Abraham had a daughter whose name was bakol, which also means in all. And the Zohar, he's bringing this because then the Zohar goes ahead and says, what is bakol? Well, bakol is another name for Shekhinah, for the divine presence, for the feminine. So Abraham had a daughter who was named Bakol. Another way of saying Abraham was able to give birth, in some sense, to an awareness of divine presence, of Shekhinah. And I'm going to read this literally because I think it's so beautiful. It says, we need to understand this matter. If you are a person to whom God has granted a contemplative mind, all right, and you want to enter
Rabbi Kavod, you're muted.
Did anyone else lose him? Did anyone lose him?
Let's keep going. Let's keep going, folks. A little technical difficulty. I'm going to back up a little bit with the teaching again, and you can go ahead and mute yourselves. Let me just make sure that this is spotlighted. Okay. So he says we need to understand this matter. If you are a person to whom God has granted a contemplative mind, and you want to enter God's service wholeheartedly, you will do as follows. In everything you see and hear, you will see and hear only the divine presence that is garbed there. In everything you see and hear, you will see and hear only the divine presence that is garbed there. This idea, this Kabbalistic idea that everything has a klipa, or a shell, or a garment. Everything we see, experience, and that is concealing a divine presence. You will take it as a clue to a deeper wisdom, awakening you to become attached to God. Thus, you will be raising sparks, limbs of the Shekhinah that dwell within all, bakol, and give life to all. This is what they meant by saying, among birds, eagle, and all the rest, Shekhinah's name varies along with all the diversity that exists in the world, all for our sake, that we may recognize and name her everywhere. Okay, so this sense of Shekhinah, of feminine divine presence, is bakol, is in every place. That's part of what characterizes this aspect of God that we can touch and experience, whether it's in trees or flowers or people or anything. that this aliveness is here. And it says, Abraham, our father, peace be upon him, understood this deeply and tried so hard to find this garbing of Shekhinah in every place, Bakol. He grasped her presence on all levels, even the most earthly. He was able to see Shekhinah in everything, to understand under what name she was appearing to him, and to address her properly. So what is it like to be really open and focused and able to receive the divine presence, Shekhinah, in everything, in all, and to be able to name it accordingly, to be able to see, in some sense, when I think about the reality of my day-to-day life, my inability to recognize Shekhinah is not from desire or intention. It's from forgetting. It's just from forgetting. It's from moving in the world and forgetting to look, forgetting to open to. It's becoming just caught in the garments or the externals of everything. It's just kind of the natural flow of action, of doing. When I am involved in doing, in order for me to do, I have to be aware of the externals. And much of the time, because I want to say we move pretty quickly, forget to look for and to notice the divine presence. So part of the practice, when we meditate, is really slowing down. It's slowing down and having the intention to look, to look. And so that's not only in our morning practice as we sit here, but can we extend that in a little bit? Can we say, maybe even just as an idea, I'm going to extend my morning practice to not just the 25 or 30 minutes or 10 minutes that I close my eyes and meditate, but I'm going to even set a timer maybe for 30 minutes of moving about my morning and day slowly with an intention to see and perceive divine presence, Shekhinah, in everything, in the making of my morning coffee, in the cooking of breakfast, in the saying good morning to somebody in my family. What would it be? But again, the intention is to create some limited space, 30 minutes, whatever it is, to move slowly. And so now my morning practice is not just 20 minutes or 15 minutes or 30 minutes, maybe it's an hour of sitting and then moving slowly through my day. And through that practicing of trying to integrate that intention of perception, right? That intention of perception of divine presence as I'm doing, hopefully that will make an imprint, a reshimu, an imprint on us as we move through the rest of our day and are moving a lot quicker, to just have those moments of remembering, zachor, remembering all the time that there's an opportunity to be present for the divine as it exists within. So we'll take some time right now in our meditation to slow down in this moment and to practice this. I want to invite you to get into a comfortable position that you can sit for a period of time. Feel your feet rooted on the ground or the floor. The distance between the bottom of your spine and the top of your head. And we'll start with a nigun, a melody. Ya da 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 da. Ya da da. Ya da da da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da da ya da da. Ya da ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da da ya da da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da ya da ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da ya da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da da ya da da. Ya da ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da da ya da da da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da ya da ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da ya da ya da 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 da. Ya da da ya da da. Ya da ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da da ya da da. Ya da 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 da. You can root your awareness in the present moment through becoming aware of breath. Always a good place to begin to root ourselves in the movement of inhale as it enters the nostrils or the mouth, the expansion of the chest or the belly with the inhale. Noticing that place where the inhale reaches its maximum length in and switches over to an exhale, following the air out. And then noticing that place where the exhale reaches its maximum length and switches over into an inhale. Making the decision and the intention not only to be present with and be aware of the movement of breath as it moves in and out through your body, but also to be open to the divine presence, the Shekhinah, as it operates through the breath, as it expresses itself through the breath. And that doesn't mean to be open to some concept or idea of divine or Shekhinah that we superimpose onto the breath. Instead, it is to Be conscious of the very life-giving presence of breath, of the sacred movement of breath that happens all by itself without our conscious choice, to sustain us, to nourish us, to give life and energy to our cells and our body. It's to be present to that life-giving process and energy of breath, to even have a certain kind of awe of the process of our own breath. What is it like to behold the process of breathing from a place of awe, from a place that is open to the mystery of the breath? It's this awareness that allows us to be present with Shekhinah as the inherent miracle and aliveness of the breath in this moment. As you stay present with breath, expand your awareness to include the shape of your body in space, noticing where the bottom of your feet meet the floor, the ground. Follow the shape of your feet and your legs and your hips and your torso, arms all the way up to the top of your head. Still staying present with the movement of breath, but now being aware of the shape and content of your body, the billions of cells. We don't even know half of the miracle that is operating inside us, but we can only imagine that everything that works together to allow us to have life and consciousness in this moment is also miraculous, also comes from an intelligence far beyond what we can imagine. How every cell knows exactly how to operate in conjunction with our overall organism. Allow yourself to extend that same awe beyond the breath to the body and all the sensations in the body. Even sensations that we might label as uncomfortable. to be open to the intelligence in that discomfort, to the presence and the life that pervades all of it, regardless of how we want to judge our experience. As you stay present with breath and body, be aware that every sensation that you perceive as part of the body's unfolding in this moment is also filled with an intelligence from beyond. That what we experience and are aware of in this moment in our bodies is only the surface, of a world of infinite depth. When we consider and when we're open to the possibility of infinite depth that lies within our experience of this moment in breath and body, again, the response is one of awe. And as we sit in a place of awe, a place that is open to the infinite depth in our body and our breath, the Shekhinah, we can also be aware of the space around us that we experience through the air on our face, through the sound waves that hit our eardrums, giving us information about what surrounds us in this physical dimension of the world. And allow yourself to also be open to the presence, the aliveness, the energy of everything that you perceive that surrounds you. That everything you perceive, whether it's the sound of cars outside or the ticking of clock or my voice or the air on your face, that it's only the surface that we perceive. It's only the surface. But everything that surrounds us also has infinite depth. And can the remembering of that, the willingness to be in an awareness of this moment in a way that doesn't presume a certain interpretation of reality, but instead is open to all possibility, to infinite possibility, to infinite depth. Again, that is the experience of awe. And as you sit present with breath, with body, with the world that surrounds you, open to Shekhinah, to divine presence, again, not as a concept or idea, but as an orientation, an openness to all possibility. Let your attention extend beyond what you are aware of in space, in infinite directions. Keeping the same humble heart, the same openness of not knowing, but knowing that we are in the presence of something beyond our understanding. We can let all awareness of boundaries, of definition of ourselves as distinct from the outside world, let those boundaries slip away so there is just infinite depth. There is just Shekhinah, inside, outside. And our awareness sits at the altar. The last piece to share is that the teaching of the Or Ma'ir quotes the Talmud that Abraham had a daughter called Bakol in all. That being blessed with awareness of Shekhinah everywhere is expressed in the language of parental love, of having a child. And so that's an invitation as we are open in awe to divine presence in all. Can we bring that heart, that love that we know as a parent has towards our children? Can that be something that comes through us to all of creation in this moment? That the very process of letting ourselves disappear into an awareness of divine presence is an act, is an intention shaped with love. I'm going to be quiet for a period of time as we can come back to this practice, this remembering of every part of this moment, from breath to body to that which surrounds and beyond, that everything has infinite depth, that everything is an expression of Shekhinah. All right, a couple deep breaths. Bring your attention back to the screen. Would love to hear any questions or comments or things to share from the experience of meditation or life. You can just unmute yourself when you're ready. Was this practice of trying to open to every part of our experience, everything, to be open to Shekhinah in everything? What was that like? Yeah, Lisa.
I loved it, and I liked your new melody. I was really into that, and I think that I was able to be present for the first time in a long time, and but then every time I thought about the Shekhinah and trying to bring it into this moment and be present with her, Debbie Friedman's voice kept popping into my head. And then I got caught up in her song. And then I went back to what I was trying to achieve. And I really lost myself in it. So I feel really uplifted. I feel really good. Thank you. So
was it All Around Us is Shekhinah? Was that the song?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It was she was totally a part of it for me today, which was really fabulous because I love Debbie Friedman. So she was kind of part of my practice today.
Great. So a couple things, just so the melody that we sung is from the Bobov Hasidic tradition. It's called Mashiach's Nigun. And then the Debbie Friedman song that Lisa is speaking about is her version of Bashem Hashem, the angel blessing that one says when we go to sleep. And you can probably look it up, but it's beautiful. And the kind of the refrain is all around us is Shekhinah. Now, the piece that I do, it's so hard in using words and instruction and language to not get caught in this idea of Shekhinah, or when we talk about divine presence, as a concept or an idea. And I want to really just try to just say a couple words about this, because it is, when we say be open to Shekhinah, to divine presence in your breath, in your body, in whatever, the first place that we want to go in language is some idea about what the Shekhinah is that we are superimposing onto our experience. So it's like I have this idea of divine presence or Shekhinah or whatever that idea, concept, however abstract that is. And then I try to layer that and superimpose that onto that experience of breath. And that's not really what we want to do if you find yourself that that's what's happening, but it's hard to describe. It's more about that we are trying to cultivate an orientation, an attitude towards our present moment experience. An attitude that's one that is this attitude of awe, this attitude of, I'm not going to presume to know what this mystery of breath is all about, but instead I'm going to be open to the possibility that there is infinite depth. Okay, so that idea, the possibility that there's infinite depth, that what I'm experiencing in my breath or conscious of is only the surface of what's possible there, that idea leads us towards an orientation to how we are being in the moment, which is really an orientation of humility. It's an orientation of openness, of being able to say, I am aware that even as I'm present with the reality of my experience in this moment, I know that there is more. I know that there is more. I know that my perception is limited. And it's that orientation that is what we're cultivating here. Because divine presence is not an idea. Or Shekhinah, it is a lived experience of the reality that is right here, which is this sacred something that is the fabric of all of creation in this world. There's even a beautiful teaching that even says God is prayer. God is prayer. That it's not that we are praying to God in some way. In that, say, when we say we're praying to God, God becomes an object, right? But when we say that God is prayer, we're saying that there is the very act of opening up is what we are talking about when we're talking about divine. That what we're talking about when we're talking about Shekhinah is a very opening, a sense of opening to the world, a sense of receptivity. And in Kabbalah, another name for that ultimate sphira, malchut, of receptivity is Shabbat, or is Shekhinah. That very aspect of being open, that is what we're going for. So, again, part of it is to start to not let this idea of divine presence be something that we approach with our mind, because our mind is about concepts, ideas. It's all filtered into language, which is fixed and limited. But in sense, what's this kind of intuitive sense that we have of sacred, an intuitive sense that all of life has intrinsic worth? That's not ultimately an idea. It's something that we get in our kishkas. And it's that intuitive sense that is guiding us towards this openness. Maury, did you have something to share?
Well, I always want to take your teachings to my relationships with other people, and because that's how I mostly experience the world. So it's in a way, when you talk about divine presence, or I would say the feeling of connection, from that, the feeling of connection with others, which is easy for me with people that I love or care about, or that we have a sort of common view of the world. I would like to experience that with people who think very differently from me. And I think I get what you're saying. That is an experience, to just feel that and experience that with other human beings, however they are.
Yeah,
Is
exactly. Yeah, and it's the same practice. It's the same practice that what keeps us separate from connecting with people who are different from us is our own labels of who they are and what they mean, and what their values are and what they stand for. And that's really hard, because sometimes on the surface, what is expressed is something that might be very nationalistic and very, very closed and very fear-based. And if we were to, in the same way, to stay open in this way, to stay open to say, the Shekhinah is in this openness here, we might be able to hear and be open to what is on the inside. All that closed-mindedness that gets expressed, over there, the teaching would be, that's the garment. But what's on the inside? And always on the inside is some kind of value that we can connect with. Maybe that value is about security, right? A lot of the value that comes from fear is about being safe, about being secure, about being protected. And we all want that. We can all resonate with that. And we can always feel the goodness and the humanity in somebody else's desire to be safe and secure. So it's that sense of, again, just like we're open to all of our experience in this moment, it's the same thing with other people. And I'll even say, you're bringing it into people who are different than you. But I want to say, even bring this into our most intimate relationships, to our deepest friendships and family. Where do we stop saying, oh, I know who you are. I know who you are. You think this way. You're like, can we be open to the fact that we may not even have a clue about the mystery and the depth that's present in the people who are right around us? And if we apply that same kind of openness and that same kind of being slow and looking and trying to see people beyond our own filters, even those who are closest to us, we may just be so delighted and surprised about seeing people in a deeper way.
That's why people sometimes connect more beautifully with animals than with other humans, because
you don't have that filter and that label. Yeah, maybe so.
Nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
There's no judgment either.
Yeah, right. Nice.
Is there time for a comment?
Yeah, go ahead, Audrey.
I got to work the election at the mosque in Mission Viejo, and they gave us a tour of the mosque after we were done working. And she said something so beautifully, which is a little off the tangent, but the reason they cover their hair is so that we get to know them from their soul, not from their look. And it just sort of reminded me of what you're talking about, taking away the filters. And I just liked how she said that. And the other thing you said, I think what you're trying, this is how I heard it, is not the feeling of the Shekhinah, not the label, but the feeling, the presence, I think is what you were describing.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say, it's interesting when we say feeling, what do we mean by that? Is that an emotional reality? But I think what I was saying is that I would connect feeling more into intuiting or sensing, you know, maybe not sensing with the
Sensing.
5 senses, but more of that kind
Yeah.
of intuitive sensing. Yes.
Oh, see, now that's I gotta get that around my brain. Okay. This
Well,
was lovely.
really, Audrey, I'll just say it's something I think that you know. It's not, it's actually, you don't have to overthink it. It's one of those things, the brain in this case, I think will just get in the way. But I think what's most important is just that it's an orientation of being open to depth. You know, I use those words a lot in the meditation. I heard myself, you know, infinite depth, to be aware that what we're perceiving in any moment is really only the surface. And can we be open to more? It's that orientation that is what allows the kind of relationship we're seeking.
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right. Well, good to see folks. Marla, great to see you as always. And everybody else. I hope everybody has a great week, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week, if not sooner. Oh, couple things, just little announcements. Thursday is going to be the second of these, I don't know if it's really lunch and learn, but lunch and chat with me at 12:30, from 12:30 to 1. It's just more of we're just trying to create a space to be able to, you know, if you have questions or discussion topics about anything, whether it's about the new dual affiliation that I have with Reform and conservative movements, whether it has to do with the synagogue in general and what's going on with the synagogue, whether it has to do with none of that, but just life, spirit, you know, things that we're talking about here. It's a completely open discussion, and we'll only go the direction that the participants will take it. So if you have some time and want to chat more, that would be lovely. And then I believe that this Friday we have also our Kibbutz and Community, which starts at 5 o'clock, which is kind of this extended Oneg time. Sarah usually makes that announcement. I may be wrong about that, so you may want to double check, but somehow I have it in my brain. Take care, everybody.